sports news now. Reactions are still trailing the recall of coach Stephen Keshi as Super Eagles coach barely 2 weeks after he was asked to step down. Sports enthusiasts, however, differ on the Nigeria Football Federation decision to backtrack after handing the job to NFF Technical Director Shuaibu Amadu, who was also a former coach of the senior national team.
Keshi is a hero, so he should be celebrated, not people booing him in the course of the game, not people invading the pitch, chasing after him. I think for now, he has reached a level whereby he needs that break. We need that break for us to move on.
In the early hours of October the 16th, Nigerians woke up to the news that the Nigeria Football Federation would no longer be needing the services of coach Stephen Keshi. Ironically, he had just secured an all-important victory against Sudan in the African Cup of Nations qualifier in Abuja. That same day, NFF Technical Director Amadou Shuaibu was appointed to lead a consortium of coaches towards qualifying the team for Morocco 2015 with 2 games left. But in a dramatic twist, on October the 27th, Coach Shuaibu Amadu appealed for the reinstatement of Keshi in a letter addressed to the NFF. Part of it read, "Following wide consultations within the past 2 weeks since my appointment, and for the sake of professionalism, I want to specifically appeal to you to reconsider the matter and allow Stephen Keshi to finish the project that he has started, the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying race." He added, "The time frame is too short to start tinkering with the fabric of the team or attempt to build a new team altogether." Sports enthusiasts differ on the coach's recall.
It made sense to let him go against the backdrop of the fact that he had lost the dressing room. He was at loggerheads with his players. The results were not complimentary any longer. And when you win 2 out of 13 games, in modern day football, you don't deserve to keep your job.
If Amadu had failed in those 2 remaining qualifying matches, you wouldn't know where to put the blame. Oh, Keshi started it anyways, Amadu didn't complete it. But now, having brought Keshi back, the good thing about it is that Keshi will have to complete his task. Beautiful. But Keshi can no longer listen to the FA because he has orders from above.
This is a coach that has been working with the team for quite some time. He won the Nations Cup with them, and I just asking him to go away like that when you have just 2 games left because you suffer some bad patch of result. I don't think it was good for them to say he should have left in the first place.
The recalled coach has already swung into action, knowing he has a lot on his shoulders. 24 players have been invited for the return leg games against Congo, Brazzaville and South Africa. Most notable on the list is Villarreal striker Ikechukwu Uche, who has been frozen out of the team for almost 2 years.
Argentina's Sergio Aguero's second half strike earned English Premier League defending champions Manchester City a hard-fought 1-0 win over Manchester United at the Etihad Stadium. United were reduced to 10 men in one of Sunday's fixtures late in the first half when Chris Smalling was sent off for 2 bookable offences in the space of 8 minutes. Aguero handed City a 4th successive win over their Manchester rivals and his 10th league goal in the season in the derby fixture when he drove the ball beyond David De Gea from Gael Cliché's delightful comeback on 63 minutes. The result moves City to 3rd spot with 20 points behind league leaders Chelsea. And in tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic became the first player to retain his Paris Masters title with a 6-2, 6-3 win over big serving Canadian Milos Raonic in Sunday's final. A top-seeded Serb who did not drop a set in Bercy to clinch his 3rd title perfectly read the 7th-seeded Raonic's serve to prevail in a one-sided encounter. His 600th career win extended Djokovic's unbeaten indoors run to 27 and gave him his 20th Masters title. Both players will be taking part in the ATP World Tour Finals from November 9th to the 16th in London. Kenya's Wilson Kipsang won a tough duel to finish to join compatriot Mary Keitany in a Kenyan sweep of exciting men's and women's races at the New York City Marathon. Kipsang, who also won the London Marathon earlier in the year, ran shoulder to shoulder with Lelisa Desisa of Ethiopia over the last 2 miles. He crossed the finish line in an official time of 2 hours, 10 minutes, 59 seconds to win the $100,000 top prize. In the women's event, Keitany overcame compatriot Jemima Songong with a little more than a mile, with a winning time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 7 seconds. Well, still on the foreign scene, gunshots have been heard today at the headquarters of Burkina Faso State Television by soldiers apparently trying to disperse a group of protesters who had gathered there, angry at the military takeover of government. The capital, Ouagadougou, has been the scene of several protests in the last week as people prevented President Blaise Compaoré from continuing with the decision to amend the constitution, allowing him another term in office despite his 27-year rule. On Friday, the president announced his resignation and the military took over power, though they said they were only filling a vacuum. No doubt the political situation in Burkina Faso is worrying. Continental body, the African Union, is concerned Africa may be witnessing another coup that could degenerate any progress in the country. But political analyst Dr. Emmanuel Ona of the University of Lagos believes that given the chaos already caused by Compaoré resigning, the military will help provide some stability.
It is good that the military is there now, so that knowing that the climate, the international climate is not good for them to be in power, I'm sure they will do something quick, to return the country to civilian rule and then go back to their barracks.
A statement released on Saturday by top military officials said Lieutenant Colonel Yakuba Isaac Zida had been elected unanimously to lead the transition period opened after the departure of Compaoré. Rather than douse tensions, they've only escalated them. The takeover has been condemned by the UN and ECOWAS, who insist the military must allow a civilian transfer of power. But political turmoil, which has affected everything else, could have been avoided. Blaise Compaoré had been president for 27 years and was preparing for another term. One move characteristic with some African leaders who continue to amend the constitution to feed their desire to remain in office. But when is it enough, I asked Dr. Ona? When is the right time for African leaders to let go of power?
The best time for a leader to leave, theoretically, is that time is set at the beginning of your power, at the beginning of your tenure. As you are coming in, there must be a promise on which you are coming. Either the promise of the Constitution, which would agree a clear tenure. And if it is the Constitution that brought you in, and it has given you a clear tenure and tenure limit, immediately that is up, then you will leave.
Burkina Faso is not new to anti-government protests, whether violent or peaceful. Injustice, low wages, discontent at high prices and poor standard of living, despite economic growth, have been the triggers for such unrest. This time, the people hope that one more push would bring the much-needed change. A suicide blast has killed up to 45 people in the Pakistani-Indian border town of Lahore. Explosion was said to have happened on the Pakistani side near the famous Wagah crossing between the two countries. Crowds gather every day at the crossing to watch soldiers conduct a flag-lowering ceremony as the border closes. The Punjab police chief, Mushtaq Sukaria, said the blast happened when a suicide attacker approached the restaurant after the Wagah ceremony and detonated his explosives. An Indian security official said the Indian side of the border was not affected, however, by the explosion. And the main news again. The military have repelled insurgents' attacks in Borno and Adamawa states, accompanied by intensive shelling of terrorist hideouts. According to a military spokesperson, Major General Chris Olukolade, air raids by officers and men of the Air Force and the Nigerian Army's ground operations are yielding results. And normalcy is set to return to Gombe Township after last week's car bomb attack that left scores of people dead. Crisis in Burkina Faso is deepened as a power tussle within the military and with civilians shifted to State Television House in Ouagadougou. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night.